Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be talking about a couple different things. So I know in the last episode I talked about do-while statements. Today I'm just going to do a bunch of stuff. So I'm going to do throw statements, go-to statements, break statements, and continue statements. So basically what these are an example of what's called control flow statements. Now, I know if statements are more of like control flow statements, but I mean, these do also control the flow of your code, right? Like if you throw something, if you throw an exception, well, that's going to, and exceptions, by the way, are a huge pain in the ass. To implement support for exceptions in a programming language is a fucking nightmare. But yeah, so we're going to just kind of go over various different control flow things. So let's just kind of see how they look. So first, I'm going to start with throw. So you can kind of see here, you're going to need your is statement. So I'm going to go through all of the is statements first. So the first is statement is going to be throw, throw. The next is statement for goto is going to be is goto statement, which is just goto. After that, we have break statement, which is break. And we have continue statement, which is continue. So with all of that being said, let's kind of just go through each one. So of course, with all of these, right, and I'm not going to have to repeat it like every single time, none of these support access declarations. So throw doesn't support it, goto doesn't support it, break doesn't support it, and continue does not support it. So just want to basically paste this same code into all of these if statements. So let's first look at throw statement. And of course, as usual, you want to return true at the bottom of every single function after you parse it. So for throw, how does throw look? So we create our AST throw statement. We minus the current token. We expect throw. We don't need any of this data. So we expect throw. We basically parse an expression, and then we basically expect a semicolon. With expressions, the way it's going to work is with throw, and I'm pretty sure you guys know what throw is, but here's something interesting that you might not know. Since I've been digging a lot into the Java virtual machine, I've had to find out loads of information about how Java handles exceptions and so on. So let's say we call a function called foo. That can technically return an exception. And so I'm not going to write the code, but like let's just assume like this returns an exception class. We can literally say throw and throw foo. So basically the way throw works is it doesn't give a crap what's to the right of it, so long as that it inherits and or represents an exception, then we can successfully throw that class as an exception. So that's kind of how it works. So that's why we parse an expression and we're not just saying like dot notation call expression. So there's not really a limit to how they can actually throw things. If it's an expression and it does some wacky stuff, well, this allows the user to do a myriad of things. So that's really nice. Now let's kind of go back. So let's look at goto next. So if we look at the goto statement, goto statements are also a huge pain in the ass to implement because when you have finally blocks, and if you're guaranteeing that the user will always execute a finally block, it's a huge pain in the ass when you're having the user just bounce around uncontrollably, in the code without like really knowing where the label is actually defined. Because technically you can define labels several hundreds of lines of code below where you're trying to jump to it. And that makes things very difficult. So for goto, we want to basically minus the current token, expect goto, expect an identifier, and then we basically expect a semicolon. Now, in my language, I was considering it, but as of now, I am not going to be supporting at the language level. I'm not going to be supporting like dynamic goto. So I know like in C++, you can do like you can create an array of labels. So labels, create an array of labels. Whoops, and it can be L1, L2, whatever, dot dot dot. And you can basically say L1, L2, and you can basically like just create a label and you can say like go to at labels at 0 or whatever. I'm not going to support that. Now, you technically actually can do this. It's completely possible. You just have to do it in a different way, and it's a bit hacky, but whatever. We'll get into it a little bit later. But yeah, so you just want to support basic labels or basic identifiers for gotos. After you do that, you want to process break statements. So if we look at, I think I did break, yeah. So we already did, so I already went over the is statement. So for break, it's very simple. You just create an AST of a break statement, you minus the current token, you expect break, and you expect a semicolon. And you can see continue is down here is the exact same format. You create a AST continue statement, minus the current token, expect continue, expect semicolon. And that's it. So I'm going to go throw, go to, continue, and break. In fact, I probably should just put it up here, but whatever. It's fine. I'm going to go back. So we have like our throw. So I'm going to say, I'm going to do the traditional, like new exception. And then say, well, the other ones that I did continue, right? Go to label, and then break. So I'm going to get a crap load of errors as a result, but we can kind of see how things look. All right, so no code was generated as a result, right? I'm guessing. Oh, okay, I got a bunch of code generated. That's fine. So first, let's look at throw. So throw, we get, for throw, we just have an exception, right? So it's just one AST. So we just have a throw statement, and then what is the exception that you're trying to throw? And all we're going to do on the back end is just verify that whatever the exception is, it inherits the exception class, or it is the exception class. So that's all we care about. But basically, you can see here we have a new expression. We've already gone over how new expression, so I don't have to go over it again. So we have our new expression, and then we have so I have like some interesting errors, like all this code is unreachable because I threw an exception before. Whatever, doesn't matter. All right, let's look at continue statements. So we have a continue statement right below, and it literally doesn't have anything in it. Like continues, in fact I think continue statements are actually the simplest statement that we have. We also have a go-to statement. So we have in our go-to statement a token of label. So it's just one single token inside of this AST. Then finally, we have our break statements. And this also doesn't have anything. You can see here I have like errors like trying to call continue outside of an closing loop because I know we're not inside of a loop right now. So that's going to be it for that. And yeah, is there anything else? No, that's pretty much it. Okay, so I guess it's just kind of repeating other things. Yeah, so that's going to be it for today, guys. As usual, if you guys have any questions, definitely write them in the comment section below. And of course, if you guys would love to help support the channel, definitely head over to my GitHub repository at androidfcd/sharp. And when you get over there, definitely watch, star, and fork this repository. That's going to give this language a lot more visibility and let other developers know this language exists. Also, if you're curious about maybe seeing some of the things that I've been up to on a daily basis, in terms of updates, bug fixes, whatever, you can check out the commits, and I write some pretty wordy commits, so you can kind of get a gist of what I'm doing without really having to go deep into the code. And if you're also curious about maybe some of the things that I've done to the language in the past, or maybe stuff that I'm looking to add into the future that's going to possibly be in this YouTube series, you can check out the docs folder. And in there, there's two main files. So you can check out the change list, which is not really updated. So, I mean, it's a pretty old file. That's going to pretty much contain everything that I've done in the past. So old stuff, bug fixes, updates, so on and so forth. Roadmap contains the exact same thing, but it also contains all of the new things that I'm looking to add to the language in the future. So definitely recommend checking out this file. It gives you a lot of insight into the language. And yeah, so that's going to be it for today, guys. As usual, if you guys are new to the channel, definitely consider subscribing. And until next time, see you guys later.